like donkeys. And this sexual revolution is provoked by a feminist revolution which takes woman and gets her to take off her clothing. I could go on for another 1 hour or more, giving you sign after sign of what he spoke about, the last stage. But I think I want to now conclude by suggesting to you how can we survive in this modern age with faith intact. When you have studied the subject, then you can argue with me. Yes, but when you've not studied the subject, don't argue with me. Now, having studied the subject, and I am today, by Allah's kindness and grace, one of the people in the world of Islam who is teaching the subject of Islamic eschatology. Having studied the subject, I have come to the conclusion that you cannot escape shirk, you call it shirk, while living in society. And this is the one sin that Allah will not forgive. No. You cannot escape riba while living in the modern world. No. And Allah declares war in the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ has cursed all four. And he has said that they are all equally guilty. The one who takes riba, the one who gives riba, the one who records the transaction, and the two witnesses, they're all equally guilty. And if you have the curse of the Prophet upon you, you're entering into the hellfire. I have come to the conclusion after studying the subject of riba, and incidentally there's a flyer at the back for a conference taking place in PWTC on July 26th and 27th that you might want to attend. I am one of the speakers on riba, responding to riba. I have come to the conclusion that you cannot survive with faith intact while living as a part of this system. And therefore I have been suggesting that we retreat to the remote countryside and we build micro communities which are free from oppression. So you're not going to employ an Indonesian maid. She is the last to sleep at night. She is my daughter. She is your daughter. She is my sister. She is your sister. She is the last to sleep at night. She is the first to wake in the morning. She works all day long. She gets no holidays. She is abused. She is exploited. In Singapore, she has to cook pork, lahmul khinzir. She has to do other things we can't talk about. And at the end of the month, she's paid the salary or the wage of a slave. Come on, Lee Kuan Yew. Is there any Singaporean woman who would work for $300 a month? Shame on you, Singapore. Shame on you, wherever in the world you pay a maid the wage of a slave. How do you know it's the wage of a slave? No Malaysian woman will work for that wage. No Malaysian laborer will work for that wage that you're paying the Bangladeshi and you're paying the Indonesian. So you are an oppressor and Allah will destroy you, Allah will destroy you, Allah will destroy you. So we will create our micro communities which would be free from oppression. Banks are not allowed. No. So no money lenders. And we're not going to use this paper money. The gold dinar and silver dirham is what you find in the Quran. So the gold dinar and silver dirham will be used as money. And if we have a shortage of dinars and dirhams, and we in Java, we can use rice as money. Yeah. In that micro community, we try to live the way of life of Islam. And if they come after us with the armed forces and the police in that remote community, then, said the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, and how prophetic were his words, and how few there are who listen to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasallam. And he said, the time will come when a man, in order to preserve his faith, would have to flee to the mountainsides where rain falls and take with him some sheep and goats. And so I leave you now. I thank you for the time that you've given to me to introduce you to this important topic. I warn you that we now live in the most dangerous of all worlds, and most people are going to fail the tests. And I urge you to study the subject of signs of the last day, and to examine my suggestion that survival requires us to try to live Islam. And we cannot live Islam in their cities and towns, but we might succeed if we remove ourselves from the towns and cities and go back to Kampung and build a community that is faithful to Allah